Okay, welcome everybody. So, breaking news just a few hours ago, humanoid robot company Figure dropped a new demo of their version 3 humanoid robot Figure. CEO Brett Adcock said that wait until Thursday. That's when they're going to actually do the actual reveal. We will watch this teaser demo right now. And he's saying that it's the week that we've all been waiting for. We got Dr. Scott Walter here with us today. He is a two-time robotics company and humanoid bot expert. So this is what happened here. Brett Adcock, the CEO of Figure, he said, "What I'm seeing at Figure looks straight out of a sci-fi movie. What's coming feels like the year 2050. This week, everything changes. It's the week you've all been waiting for." And they said that coming October 9th, which is 2 days from now, the actual unveil. But this demo we're going to play now is very revealing. There's a lot here to go through, and we're going to go frame by frame. I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then we'll do the frame by frame. I'm going to take out the music because it's going to be copyrighted. But Scott, can you just explain to us what we're seeing here?
Well, the first thing we're seeing is it's fabric. So it's a very soft bot, as you can see, with a lot of fabric covering. There's been a lot of tweaks and improvements to the overall design. So still a lot of similarities with Figure 2, but definitely a lot of improvements, especially like you can see in the shoulder area, the hip area. The actuators are probably a bit more compact, a bit more powerful. Additional sensors, that foot, we're going to get into that foot because we can see there's some flexibility there, and also something else which is pretty important. But the main thing is it's closer to the humanoid look that we've all been waiting for. It does not look very mechanical. It definitely looks very, very soft on the outside, and all those pinch points have really been covered up quite well as a result of this fabric. And the other thing we will see at the very end of the video is it's very easy to remove the garments and put something else on.
Yeah, we saw that. So let's get started with this one here, Scott. This is the palms, and there is a camera. Look at that.
Yes.
That's a surprise.
Yeah. I think there are other researchers have been doing that and experimenting and thinking of the type of that idea of having the camera in there so you can see a little bit better. And what that means is you don't have to rely that much on touch sensing. So there's been a big debate about how important touch sensing is. And while it's very important and allows us to do things, the reason why it allows us to do things is because we usually can't see what's going on there. But we can also see there's some sort of sensors probably on the fingertips as well. So I'm sure there's also some additional sensing that's going on, but it certainly makes your life a lot easier if you can sort of see what's going on in an area which is obviously out of view.
Yeah. Let's take another look. What do you think of the hands, first of all? Does it look like it's advanced? How many degrees of freedom? Can you tell?
I believe it's still probably a 16-degree freedom hand. I'm not sure if there's abduction in there or not, but the other hand that they had definitely had all the IP joints, even though did not have abduction. So we'll find out on Thursday whether abduction is in there. I suspect there may not be any abduction at this point. It's not a tendon-driven hand. It is definitely using linkages with the actuators built into the palms. So everything is right there.
Yeah, sorry.
I think that's just probably showing like a cover going back into place. That's all the covering that's there on the wrist. So what we're seeing is that there's the wrist. I'm not sure if there's whether maybe that just means, I don't know if that goes to the glove or not. It's possible that it just means it'll be a lot easier to take wear items off or other kind of coatings. It also might be a gasket of some sort to make sure that there's no like dust or water intrusion.
So one of the actuators, Scott, and then, yeah, look how sleek that is. Fantastic. It's very soft, right? I mean, you and I were at the lab. We felt it. It's incredibly soft. And that's important for cobot. Take a look at the head, Scott. Any changes here?
Well, we can see it looks like a rear camera. There also seems to be a camera a little bit lower down at the chin. And there is also cameras, behind the screen. There are obviously some readouts there, so you get an idea of the state of battery charge and all. The head is able to articulate like Figure 2 is able to do right now. So basically pan and tilt. Definitely like the whole hip design you can see has been improved quite a bit. So it's still that far hip design, but you notice it has a little bit of that anhedral angle, sort of tipped down a little bit to help a little bit in the packaging and to also bring the legs in a little bit, because sometimes with these hips, by the time you get everything on there, your legs are just out too wide. And by doing this, it just helps to bring that in a little bit more. We can also see a lot of the fans that are, or let's say the vents that are below to help with the cooling, the overall cooling in many different locations. So it makes it a lot easier for them to be able to pull air through. So there's nothing blocking that flow. And also right there in the elbow, it may not be clear, but the fabric behind there probably has a little bit of ventilation going on there as well.
And what's this? Why are they showing us this kind of like a little bit easier to pull out and to repair maybe, or why are we seeing this?
I'm assuming that's more or less just kind of showing how it all goes together. Perhaps give you an idea of what the IP ratings on these might be. I'm assuming it might be like around IP 54, maybe 56.
What's
which
IP?
Means, so that's going to be like intrusion protection.
Okay, gotcha.
And there's protection against objects, and there's also protection against moisture. So the first one pretty much tells you the kind of the size of the object. So to make sure that dirt and dust, and most important, fingers. So
fingers.
You want to make sure fingers aren't going to be able to get caught. And then you also have moisture and whether you're able to handle, let's say, water being sprayed on you, whether there's water jets, submersion at depth for a certain amount of time. So in many cases, you want to be able to make sure that they can handle like a little bit of rain without shorting or anything like that. So IP54, so for instance, like your Starlink dishes, they were first IP54. I think they're now IP56. And also the routers, which means you can leave them out in the rain.
Look, sensors, we knew that.
Yes.
Fingertips.
So built into the glove. So you see really interesting kind of glove coverings on the hand. So you don't have the exposure of the pinch points that you were normally seeing in the knuckles. So a lot of the hands out there, when you see them kind of in this position, it looks all very nice. And as soon as they start to do that, everything starts opening up on the knuckles. And you're looking at things that are going to not only be potential pinch points, but can get caught on stuff and things that would be able to get in there. So you'd like to be able to keep dust and debris and everything else out of the hand. That's one way of being able to do it is also making sure it doesn't snag, because snag hazards can be just as bad as pinch hazards. And that there, I think that is showing the hand. Yes. So it's showing the camera that's built into the palm.
Oh, beautiful foot.
Yes.
Toe. Okay. So hold on. There's a toe articulation, which we knew that's kind of like nothing new there. But
yes.
On the bottom right, it says induction charging. That is incredible. What's your thought on that? This is crazy. So inductive charging, which means that you can just stand on a wireless mat and get charged. But are you thinking that they still have the back plate or back hook or something, or charging?
Yeah, I think they would. So this is more or less to extend the runtime without having to do normal, faster charging. You can also do some pretty good things with Inductive. So we'll probably find out on Thursday a bit more whether they're relying solely on that, but I suspect that this is just a backup so that when you are in an area that you're not walking around, you could just be standing on the mat. And the mat could probably be of a certain size as well. So it's not like your feet have to be on a certain footprint. You might be able to move around a little bit to be able to get that induction. And this is something that everyone has pointed out before. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why don't they just put, induction charging in the feet? I've seen that in the comments all the time. And the other thing is like why don't you just have a cable come down? The reason though you don't want to have a cable is it can be a bit intrusive. And you could also get caught on it. So anyone that's had a VR headset with a cable on it, you know exactly how difficult it is to move around when you have that thing attached to you. So it's nice to be able to go completely wireless, and it makes it very easy to be able to kind of top off. If you're picking some things up, okay, I'm not getting a charge and coming back, I'm doing a little bit of work, and while that's happening, you get that recharge. And I think that goes a long ways. If you remember, CERN and I modeled this a few years ago, just looking at brake schedules and how brake schedules could go a long way to helping you be able to get like 22 hours out of it. And a lot of it comes down to is that and anyone who drives an EV knows the importance of the charge curve. And if you hit the charge curve at the right time, you can really load up a lot of charge that will let you go for an extended period of time. And so doing stuff like that means you don't actually have a brake schedule. So the original assumption was that, well, if you're running a factory and there's humans in there, and humans are taking breaks, the robots will take a break at the same time as the humans, right? So we'll just be kind of fair that way.
15
But
minutes.
eventually,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 15 minutes here, half hour for lunch. Usually there'll be a break between shifts and so that's very, very common. But if you say, well, wait a minute, we want my factory to really be able to run, truly 24/7. We don't want to have any breaks going on in there.
Yeah.
Then that means the robots are going to have a problem. You're going to have to swap them out. But by doing this, you would be able to have the robots run, for a couple hours and then be able to get that little boost to make sure they can make it to the next one. And there's always going to be breaks, even if there aren't people there, because the factories every now and then need to slow down to have a little bit of maintenance or other work done. So it's really rare that you could just keep them cranking and cranking and cranking.
Yep. Okay, so that's a surprise. Inductive charging on the foot. Beautiful design. Okay, whoa. Whoa, that was a lot. Should we just go each one of them? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Lots of outfits.
Quite a lot of outfits there. So it's really hard to say what is yes. So and you will be able to put your own company logos and everything else on there, or you'll be able to clearly uniform the robots depending upon the task that they're supposed to be doing.
Okay. So
the other thing, of course, is this. Yeah, the other thing this is going to allow is that the outerwear is probably going to have to get cleaned every now and then anyway. So better to clean the outerwear rather than have to clean the bot itself.
What's this one?
This is also to help.
Yes, it looks like it's like a big neck for helmets or something like that.
It could be that. It could also be to promote airflow.
It's just open?
So it could be that it's open to help. Yeah.
Okay, promote airflow. Yeah. No, it's a different outfit.
Yeah, it's a different outfit in that case. Yeah.
Interesting. And then, oh, that's cool. It's like a fitness guy about to go for a run.
Yeah, but if you go back to that other one, that is kind of a cool style. I mean, that might be the new. Who knows? That might trend.
I don't know. I don't think so, Scott. But okay, that might trend.
Actually, it would. Because I always have to get those things to put around my neck when I'm on a long flight.
It looks like you want one.
That way it'll just kind of fit in there. Yeah.
Maybe it sounds like Figure's gonna send you one, dude, just because you're asking for it. I want one. These are hoodies, right? This is gonna be sold like crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Anything here? Just I guess less things to be snagged if you are in some sort of going inside of a automobile.
Yeah. But the main thing is look at that shoulder.
Yeah.
Just look at it.
Yeah.
It's all the other robots have robot shoulders.
Yes.
You can see the actuators and everything that's in there. And that is so well hidden. It looks so human.
Yeah. I'm trying to look if we can see the shoulders somewhere else. No, we don't, right? No. Okay. Oh, look at that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this can be many styles. They've got good designers, that's for sure. This whole bot looks incredibly well put together.
Mm-hmm. The outerwear looks great. Absolutely.
What's happening there in the head area, the cheekbone? What's going on there?
Oh, I think it's just a profile they're kind of coming up with for the new head. It just has that.
It looks like a hole.
Nice kind of humanoid. Yeah, looks nice.
No, is there a hole there? A slit?
Oh, going around there. I know there is what looks like a chin camera of some sort.
Not the chin. Look at.
Yeah.
You see what I'm looking at? It's not the chin. I'm not looking at the chin.
Where the lights are. Are you looking at where it would look like where the ears would be?
Yes, the ears.
Yeah, I think that's probably just a display. Yeah. So that might be like a status display of some sort.
Now they're wearing a hood. Okay, look at that. That is sleek. Mm-hmm. Were you expecting the head to be this thin and really thin and small?
Well, yeah, because as you know, I had a preview back in June.
And you said, make the head smaller?
No. It was already very much. I think there may have been a few tweaks since I saw it, but it's most everything is there. As you may recall, we did have a live stream with Brett that was ostensibly about the very long logistics demo that they had, the hour-long video. And Brett mentioned that I had a chance to see Figure 3, so he let that cat out of the bag. And I sort of told you that it was really hard to decide what was my favorite part.
Yep.
And the best way to describe it is that I asked Brett that question, and he couldn't pick one. He also had to like pick 10 different things. Probably for me, the first thing was the shoulders. It was just so impressive that it really looked like a human shoulder for the first time. And then the outer covering that you have on top of that, of course, helps for that shoulder, but everywhere else makes it much softer. So you don't have to worry about safety issues as much. I mean, you still get a certain amount of mass and everything else, but it looks a lot better. And of course, the other thing it does is it provides not only protection to the robot to when the environment's working, it's a lot easier to then do cleaning. And then you could see just overall improvements everywhere. The actuation strategy looks similar. Kinematically, it hasn't really changed from figure 2. It's the same degrees of freedom, but different actuators. So the actuators, these are like probably their 3rd or 4th generation actuators that they have that are going in there that are definitely lighter and tighter, easier to manufacture. And you'll see like some slight changes. I mean, not just cosmetic changes, but also in the, like we mentioned, in the pelvis area and the hip, that you have that little downward angle or that anhedral angle that they put in there because they were able to see there's some advantages. And of course, the big thing is now at the foot. I was really happy to see that they decided to go with an articulated toe box, because it definitely makes your foot grip and everything else a lot better when you're going off of that. The biggest secret I had to keep the whole time was the inductive charging. And that's, so they probably will be the first doing that down at the feet. And there's a lot of advantages to doing that. And if there was any disadvantages, they would have thought it through. So it's not something that, well, let's just put it in so we can have that claim. It was like really thought through of what are the advantages, because there's going to be a little bit of a mass penalty and everything else going in there. What's the charging rate's going to be like? Is there going to be a heating issue? All these other things. Is it really practical to do? It's not going to be down there if they haven't really gone through and thought everything through as being a better way. So it's also a little bit lighter, doesn't weigh as much as figure 2. And I think you'll see it looks a lot better. Now, at that time, they were still in training mode. And so they've had, maybe 4 months now to really put it through its paces. So on Thursday, I expect it's probably going to be a very exciting reveal. It's going to be a lot more than this. It's not going to be showing just CGI. It will be showing the real bot, and probably be showing the real bot doing some very interesting activities, which, I mean, we've already been seeing figure 2 has been doing quite a bit. And so I would expect that we would see the similar things from figure 3.
So an obvious question, is this ready for mass scaling?
Yes, it is, because it was designed for that. So everyone may be familiar with this idea of design for manufacture, is that, you can go ahead and design a product any way you want. And then suddenly you want to build it. You realize, it's really hard to build this thing. We have no idea how to do it. Bad material selection or the shapes of things. We don't know how it's going to go together. And then suddenly it's very costly to build. Most engineers right now are schooled in this idea of design for manufacture. So you just don't come up with something nice. You got to think about it like, how easy is this going to be to manufacture? How do we drive those costs down? And this is something that they've been doing right from the beginning, is that you design in the ability to manufacture this. And as you know, on their campus, they have 4 buildings there. One building is fully occupied, and that is the normal, research arm in the headquarters. And they have the 3 other buildings that they're filling out right now. One of them, which I think is fully full, and the other one they're working on, that's Bot Q. And this is where they plan on doing the production of the bots. So they've been setting up the manufacturing, and we've already seen teasers of that, I think going back to January, showing the manufacturing processes that they're starting to set up. And a lot of it will be robotic, not humanoid robotic, but using, traditional robots. I think in one of those videos, we did see like an ABB arm going to the injection molding machine and removing some parts. It's also going in and doing some inspection and buffing and everything else. And we've also seen the production that they have for the batteries. So that whole torso that you see there, behind there, is a battery pack, along with the management systems, as well as some of the electronics that are needed for running the bot. And that production line has been already pretty much set up already to be able to build those. And again, that's something we've seen examples of. And I think it might have been going way back in August. They already produced 100 torsos. And the expectation is they probably have a lot more that they've already been able to produce.
Yeah.
So yes, this is the one that they've always said they want to do. So when we were there, Brett sort of talked about what the different versions meant. So the first one, figure one, was we just got to get something together so we can give it to the AI team so they can start figuring out how you train these things and start getting our policies and everything else, get the learnings from it. So they knew it was far from perfect, didn't have everything they wanted, but they just had to get something out. And it was like super expensive because it was like, I'm not sure how many figure ones they had, but it was like probably single digits. Meanwhile, when they finally get that thing rushed out, they were already working on figure two. They knew what they wanted it to look like. They got much better designs. The actuators are a lot better. And when figure two came out, it looked pretty refined, but still it was not quite designed for manufacturing. We saw what the manufacturing was like back there. And I joked that Figure's biggest product was aluminum chips because these big billets would come in and then and like 98% of it would be turned into chips. And then what you'd have coming out of that would be like the torso shell and everything else. And we also saw in the warehousing area, like all these little components and parts that they had just been producing. So they were just running those machines nonstop, coming up with all the little pieces that you would need to be able to assemble a bot. And that is very costly and very, very slow process. So then, of course, they're working on figure three with the idea that figure two was getting a better mechanics, something that we really want to have the guys start training on now that they're doing that. But it buys us enough time to get figure three ready, which is the one we want to scale. And you talk to anyone, they'll say, yeah, it takes 3 generations before probably minimum before you get to the state that you say, yeah, this is something that's ready to scale, that we've designed it for that purpose.
Yeah, so this looks really good. So when you and I visited when we saw figure two, and then we had a preview of figure three, we did a video on it, but that's old now. So if people want to watch that video and actually see, because the reason it's old is that factory that we went into is no longer what they're doing. They moved to brand new 4 buildings campus. Right. And they're investing heavily on the manufacturing of this now. And then now they just released figure three. And just to full disclosure, people here know that you and I follow many humanoid robot companies. We're investors in multiple humanoid robot companies, including Figure. So just, that is just something for people to be aware. And but it's looking great, right? I mean, the product comes out, figure three, looks sleek. We'll see what it really looks like in real life on Thursday, and we're going to need to see what it can do. The challenge for Figure is the factory. I mean, they've designed something that looks great. They've been able to show that it's actually working at BMW. Didn't Brett, the CEO, just announce that they've been in big BMW's factories working 10 hours a day ever since January straight? And he goes,
I think he said it was like five months straight. So right now, he said 10-hour days for 5 months straight now.
Yeah. Now, there was a bit of a controversy because he said, I sent a fleet there. And then actually what I think it turned out, and again, we don't know, but that they had one bot always working one line, and then they kept switching the bots out.
Yes. And you could see in some of the videos that were there that there was like one bot that was charging while the other one was working. And then they would do that swap out. So, and that makes sense that it's very difficult to keep them running continuously for 10 hours. And depending upon what the charging rates and all these would be, and if you had several in the station, you might have like 2 working and 1 charging or something like that. So that's like another strategy of, should you have a swappable battery pack? And swappability of battery packs is nice, but usually what it means is that your overall run time is a little bit less because there's other structure that has to go around there, everything else to kind of deal with it. So on a single charge, you're not able to run that much longer than if you have a dedicated one. The other advantage of the dedicated battery packs is you can use it as a structural pack. And this is what Figure has done. So everyone's wondered whether they have a swappable battery pack. And if you look at the video, how they're putting it, it's like, no, it's actually structured. And they have a white paper describing that thing. It's like, okay, after you read the white paper, you're like, wait a minute, is that a battery pack for a humanoid or for an EV? Because they talk about all these tests that they can go through to make sure that it's flame retardant, that when you drop it, that something's not going to happen. And I was really kind of impressed with the test that they set up for that. And you begin to understand why you would probably want to take that kind of strategy. So what ends up happening in that case is that rather than having a swappable battery pack, the bots are the swappable battery pack.
Yep.
And depending upon what your charging rates and everything, you could potentially have 5-to-1, 9-to-1, something like that, some kind of ratio where one's charging and all the others are working.
Yeah, and then whoever's needing it, then that one swaps while that one charges, and
Yes,
the next one. That's enough.
exactly.
9-to-1 is
But
probably enough.
but now you have inductive charging, and so suddenly it's like,
so that's a bit of a
do we even
surprise,
need it?
right?
Yeah.
And so, first of all, let's go through it. You think you saw all the cameras? So there's one in the back of the head. There's one in the palm, two in the palms. Obviously, many in the front of the face, inside the face. Is that enough? That's way more than enough.
It would seem to
Especially
be,
since they have the neck able to move quite significantly. As you saw that it felt like, is that what you call 3 degrees of freedom for the neck? Because it can go up.
Well, I think it's 2.
like
I think
this.
I think it's pan tilt. So what you have is you get the panning this way, which would just be back and forth, and then this, which would be your tilt, and then the other would be that, which is
like this?
kind of whatever. Yeah. So it's like you got yes, no, and maybe, but that one surprisingly
probably don't need it.
You don't need it, but there's quite a few that have it. So I know Sanctuary AI put it in, Neura put it in, Apptronic put it in, and a lot of them said they just did it for gestures. That was like the real
more
reason.
human-like, right? So, but it's also got the fingertip sensors. Is there anything that you thought was missing?
No, I mean, there's always a lot more you can put in, and I look at it from the standpoint of making sure you get something that is a good product fit for the need that's right now. So you can over-engineer these things and try to put in way more, and then the result is you can't get the product out the door. So for kind of where everyone is right now and what because you can come up with a bot design that's so good. The problem is the AI won't be able to catch up for a couple of years. So don't build the robot that we need 5 years from now. Build the robot that we need now that's kind of complementary with there. And there's a lot of issues if you put too many sensors in there. Everyone will sort of start saying, we've got to have also the touch sensing. Okay, as far as the concern, too much touch sensing is like LiDAR for full self-driving. Do you need it or not? You got sensor fusion issues. And one of the problems with having touch sensing, we don't know how to teach it. It all comes down to the teleoperation and trying to figure out how for the operator to actually know what is they're feeling. So that's sort of a problem that has to be solved. And the best thing is to come up with the degrees of freedom that you need. Make sure there's sufficient degrees of freedom that they really work very well, and you can start to get something out there. Now, you always become able to come and say, but this is use case that it won't be able to do that because the hands don't quite have this degree of freedom. It's like, okay, fine. But those are edge cases or use cases that are not really that important. And when you look at the main idea of like, let's get in the factory, get into home-like environments, whether it goes straight in the home or whether it goes into home adjacent, which I would say be like hospitality, hotels, restaurants, which are more structured home environments, if you want to think of it that way. Those are good places to go into. And there'll be a lot of utility, and there'll be people more willing to pay for a bot to go into that kind of environment than in the household right now. I mean, as much as we all want it in our household, if the price tag is going to be 100,000 and up, there's not going to be a whole lot of takers.
And also it's got to be safe, and that's what I think. It does look like it's safe, but we don't know. But it does look like that they've solved the issues. Remember, they used to have the cables coming out. They had all these pinch points. So this is where all the bots are headed towards, cobot certified. So how many of these do you think we'll know? I hope on Thursday, the questions I'd like to ask is, okay, great. You've shown us a fantastic Model 3, version 3. How many have you built? How many can you build? And what is your production plan for next year? That's the big question, I think, at this point, right?
Yes. And earlier in the summer, I think Brett posted that the scaling up was going better than they expected, and that whatever their internal benchmarks were, they're expected to be 3 times that. We've already seen that they've produced 100 battery packs. So that means they have at least enough for 100. I assume that maybe they've scaled and built some more beyond that. I would not be surprised that if they don't already have 100, they're going to be very close to that, and probably will have a couple hundred by the end of the year. We'll find out. I mean, we're definitely going to find out on Thursday. I'm sure it's more than 1, and I'm pretty sure it's more than 10. The question is whether it's all the way up at 100 or not, but I have a feeling it
Well,
might be a
but
couple
are they
dozen.
more than 10 of the figure 3?
Figure 3, yeah, figure 3, because
You think so?
they already, yeah, they've already built, and that's, I think, 6 or 8 weeks ago. Have to double check where that was. 100 battery packs.
Yeah.
So their
But
production line is
specifically
already
designed for
produced that.
3, not for 2.
For figure 3, exactly. So BotQ has produced 100 figure 3 battery packs already, or torsos. Yes. Now it doesn't mean that there couldn't be something else that is like, wow, maybe it's really hard to build the hands. It's like we got enough of these things, but we can only build like a dozen hands in that time. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just watch it one more time. Let's take a look again. But it looks very sleek. And again, the hands. You think that's good enough? Is that the hands good enough?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. I think again, you can always overthink the problem too much, and make sure you have enough degrees of freedom to get the job done.
What's inside the head, Scott? Last time we saw it, it was empty. It was just there to hold the bot. But do you think that they've
I
made
think
use
there's
of that?
actually a lot in there. Yeah. More and more bot companies are using the head more and more for a lot of things because they just ran out of space in the torso. And also, do you know why our brain is in our head?
Well, if any part of my body gets cut, it's still safe. I don't.
Well, some people think, well,
Close enough to all my senses.
To your senses. Okay, so it's a really good tripod to put your cameras up there, right?
Yeah.
So you want to have it really close. So you want to have the bandwidth to your brain. And so that's like one reason to put it up there is that if that's where your cameras are, you want to have the latency reduced going through there. So that makes it a little bit easier. But there's another big reason why our brains are in our heads. Yes. And why our heads are round. Exactly. Is that we produce a lot of heat, and we need to dissipate and radiate that heat. And this is a problem all the bots are having because they're producing a lot of heat everywhere. And so even their control systems. So in many cases, like, yeah, maybe the way we get the torso away, the heat away from the torso is like, we'll just go ahead and put it up in the head. So now they are actually putting a lot more up in the head.
I just noticed something. Take a look at the zipper. Is that a on button?
It looks like, it looks like an on button. Yeah. On off switch. Yeah. Maybe that's like an east up. Yeah.
No, that's an on button.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's the on button right there? That makes kind of sense. It's in the back, on and off. Yeah. But it's kind of just kind of hidden a little bit. I thought it should be a bright red thing, emergency stop, not this tiny little button. I don't know. Yeah,
I think there are a lot of ways of doing the emergency stop. I think fewer and fewer of them are actually putting like an e-stop anywhere on there. Most of the e-stops are going to be wireless and remote, whatever control system you have. And the other will be more software kind of e-stops that either you just touch the robot anywhere in the skin or hit it really hard, and then it realizes, oh, something is wrong, and then it will just go ahead into a safe state.
Oh, shit. So the new models are on the website. Again.
All right.
Are we going to show it here? Woo, let's go ahead. All right. Emergency. Let's take a look at it.
Those models. Yep. The other Model 3. Yeah.
I can't see it. This one here on the right. That's one. The one on the right.
You mean the blue one?
Yeah, no, this gray one on the right.
Okay, there's the gray one. And that is the new Model Y, correct?
Yeah, it's the ones without the light bar in the front. Okay, let's take a look if we can see it closer. Model Y standard, Model 3 standard. Woo! See? Model 3 standard. I was saying that was going to happen. Here we have it. Here we go. Model 3 standard. Model Y standard. What's the pricing point? Do we have it? 321 miles, 5 seats, 74 cubic. Seats 5. More than a car. All right. I think we need to shut this live stream down and start a new one, Scott.
Yeah, you have to bring the bulls in.
I got to bring them in. All right. Thank you, Scott. That was great. Oh my God, this is such a wonderful day. So fantastic. Thank you very much, Scott. That was Figure.
And you got to head to the airport at the same time, don't you?
I got to head to the airport in about half an hour. So I got like one more show done. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Bye all.
Yeah. Good luck, Herbert. Yep. Bye.